Scientifically speaking, how reliable are our memories and what impacts whether we remember something accurately or not?
Right. Well, I mean, memories can be highly reliable, but they can also be highly unreliable at times. There's really three things that have to happen in order to have a reliable memory. There's three sort of phases or stages. One is acquisition or encoding. You have to bring the information in and encode it. Second, you have to retain it in its original state. And then you have to be able to retrieve it. And something that disrupts any one of those three stages produces a problem with memory.
So, how much do courts today, knowing what we know about memory, rely on eyewitness accounts?
Well, courts have always relied a lot on eyewitness accounts, and they still do today. Most all trials, certainly criminal trials, are attempts to reconstruct the past. What happened on this particular day or this particular time? One person after another ends up taking the stand and using memory to try to report on things that would help to reconstruct it. Eyewitness identification, identifying a person that you might have seen committing a crime, is still a very core and staple form of evidence in the legal system.
So, do eyewitnesses get it wrong?
Well, they definitely do get it wrong, and with a frequency that I think has come along to really shock the system. Mistaken eyewitness identification is accounting for a lot of the DNA exonerations. In other words, we now have hundreds and hundreds of these exonerations of innocent people who were convicted by juries of crimes they did not commit, serious crimes. Some were sentenced to death row even, or life sentences, and then ultimately were exonerated based on forensic DNA testing. Over 70% of those cases are cases involving mistaken eyewitness identification. We've made a lot of progress in the last several years. What we've done is we've gone and worked with police departments in various jurisdictions, both in the US and in Great Britain. And we basically track every lineup that they do. And it turns out that 1 out of every 4 times that a witness views a lineup, they pick an innocent filler, someone who's put in the lineup just to be a filler. We know they didn't do it. So what we're looking at is like, well, how often do they make a mistaken pick on someone we know didn't do it?
If we know all of this, why do we still use eyewitness accounts if they tend to be so unreliable?
Eyewitness evidence is really, it's important. I mean, if we don't use it at all, if we say, okay, eyewitnesses are too unreliable to use, it's a lot of solace to perpetrators, right? Imagine that you're a perpetrator and the only witness is your victim and you can't trust the victim. So what we've been doing is working on how do we make this evidence more reliable? Think about how forensic science is supposed to work. What happens is you take trace evidence, right? Trace evidence is something that the perpetrator left behind at the scene of the crime that can help determine the identity of the perpetrator. Well, in the case of eyewitness evidence, we need to start thinking of it as if it were more like trace evidence. That is, the perpetrator left something behind at the scene of the crime. It's in the mind or brain of the eyewitness, but still there's a trace. Now, how do we get that trace out without contaminating it? And so we need to start respecting the idea that you can't just start firing questions at a witness, that you really need a protocol. And that's what we've tried to develop, is a protocol for handling eyewitnesses and how you question them, how to interview them, how you conduct lineups, how you make records of all this, and so on. We've generated various recommendations for the legal system and law enforcement in particular about how they need to conduct their lineups. If you take an eyewitness and they make a mistaken ID, and when they make wrong picks, we've long known that they're really not very confident in it. They're not very sure, but with only the slightest nudge, like, oh, good, you picked the suspect. Almost immediately, they begin to reconstruct the whole thing. They become this highly convincing powerful, confident witness just from a nudge. So, for example, the person who administers the lineup and anybody else in that room should not know which person is the suspect and which ones are fillers, so that they can't cue the witness. And when the witness picks somebody, they can't nudge them or reinforce them or say, oh, that was the guy, all right. And instead, what happens immediately is you ask the witness for their statement. How sure are you? We actually have 9 large recommendations that we've made. One of them, for example, is that the entire identification procedure be videotaped. So let the jury see that this witness was shaky at the time. Let the jury wonder, how does a witness go from being shaky to being positive? And it'll never be perfect, but it's a great improvement.